Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Maple Forward Friends. Today on the podcast, it's a year since the pandemic, just a tip over a year. The Ides of March last year was the weekend that it seemed that our industry was decimated worldwide. Today I want to talk about what that year has brought for our industry, for small businesses, for big businesses, for employees, for producers, for all of us. None of us left 2020 whole. Some of us did great in business and lost loved ones. Some did terrible in business but got close to their family for the first time ever and started to realize the value of community and the value of having close relationships. But they lost their businesses. None of us came out whole. And it's been one way or another. It's been hard in some way. Our industry's changed, the way we do business has changed, the way that we are as people has changed. And not all countries have experienced the pandemic the same. I assure you, being in Australia right now is mind-bending, to say the least, as someone who experienced the pandemic in California. To come to Australia and see that it's business as usual. You'd think it was 2019 here. It's all challenging. Some people were able to use the resilience that they had built from years before the pandemic and activate that during the pandemic. But none of our communities are whole. As a result of the pandemic, we've learnt to live life differently. We've learnt by force how to have to adapt to a global situation. And there are still people out there that believe at some point life is going to return to normal. I would encourage you to consider that the old ways of living are gone. We're all going to think twice about the way we do everything. And this pandemic isn't even, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, from all of the stuff that I've seen. And remember, folks, I was talking about the pandemic, although it wasn't called a pandemic then. I was talking about coronavirus in January last year. And from all that I can see, we're not even close to being finished from this. I think that people are exhausted. I think that people are sick of having to deal with this. I think people are just at the end of living life the way that they were living it, and they just want to go back to normal. And so therefore they are pressing that button saying, yay, everything's open, too early. That's just my personal opinion. And we will have to deal with the ramifications of that. Either way, we are where we are a year later. And I wanted to mark that moment on the podcast. I wanted to mark that moment for all of us as a community and acknowledge that the way that we do business and the way that we deal with each other has changed. And the ripple effects of the businesses that continue to close are going to be seen through the value chain as we move forward. It's a time to reassess, and we continue to reassess if what we're doing is of value to us, if we want to continue to be a part of this industry, if we want to continue to be a part of whatever we are doing in our lives. I don't have any solutions. I have encouragement. I have a realistic, leaning on the side of optimistic approach to what the future holds for all of us. I am excited to see what comes, but I want to acknowledge the sobering reality of 12 months since the pandemic was officiated and acknowledge that our community is hurting. And who knows what solutions are ahead. But I do know this. I know that we are a creative community. We are an empathetic, mostly empathetic community. We have grit. We work hard. And just because we don't always know where we're going, it doesn't mean we can't figure out if we come together to create solutions for this. In Sydney, last week on the 18th of March, we had the very first Sydney Coffee Town Hall. For those of you who don't know what a town hall is a space where people come together and discuss what's happening in the community and talk about challenges that they're experiencing, either as individuals or as businesses or as groups, whatever. It's just an open forum to talk about stuff. And when I came back here, I decided that I wanted to be a part of creating something like this. So I spoke to 4 of my friends that I thought could hold the space with me and create something that would allow us as an industry to start coming together and discussing what our challenges are in the Sydney coffee industry. I want to invite you to consider that whatever the future holds for your local coffee community, starting a similar approach, having a town hall in your local area, and just coming together, even if it's just 10 people, coming together and saying, hey, let's talk about what's not working. Let's talk about what needs to improve. What are the challenges that we're experiencing? How do we get things working better? How can we conspire to each other's success? Like, not in a communist kind of way, just as a business community, just as a professional community. How do we come together to solve some of the problems that we're experiencing that came out of the pandemic or that existed before the pandemic and have been exacerbated by that? Rather than solving problems, trying to put out fires on our own, if we come together and work together and conspire to each other's success, which is what the tagline of Map Forward is, if we conspire to each other's success, we can get a lot more problems solved than we think that benefit all of us. And that doesn't mean that competition in business doesn't, it goes away. It just means that we're working together to create solutions rather than trying to come up with solutions as individuals and then reinventing the wheel that has already been fixed somewhere else. Just consider it. I just want to, on a personal level, say my heart goes out to everyone. This pandemic has hurt all of us. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you however I can be here for you. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.